Welcome back, America. I want to welcome a good friend of mine, a principled and courageous man, Alan Dershowitz. He's written a fantastic new book, War Against the Jews, How to End Hamas Barbarism. He actually wrote it in about a month, but I want to get right to the nub of the matter. You spent your life in academia. You spent your life at Harvard Law School. You see what's going on in these schools, and it's not just Harvard, University of Pennsylvania, Columbia, there's 200 of them. They have these students for justice in Palestine. They have these Hamas networked individuals in these various educational centers. They have administrators who are cowards. Looking back and now looking today, what do you make of all this?
Well, I looked into the eyes of evil. I taught 10,000 students, and some of these students have now become Hitler's youth. And if terrorism comes to the United States, and it will, because Hamas is contagious, and when people start blowing up schools the way, for example, radicals did in the 1970s or army bases, some of my former students from Harvard will become those terrorists. There is a fifth column in this country of young radical students who will turn against America and become the future of terrorism against us. So this is coming to a theater near you if it's not stopped in Israel, in Gaza, and on American university campuses. Thankfully, a lawsuit, an 82-page lawsuit, was filed against New York University by a prominent law firm alleging violation of the Civil Rights Act, violation of the Business Act, breach of contract by these schools encouraging anti-Semitism, anti-Israel attitudes, prejudice against Jews in class, and despicable actions by faculty members. 100 Harvard faculty members signed a letter essentially supporting Hamas.
Let me ask you this, Alan. We have a very big bureaucracy. We have a huge Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. We have a huge Civil Rights Division at another big bureaucracy called the Department of Education. Donald Trump signed an executive order which gives those authorities the power to act against anti-Semitism and threats on college campuses. Maybe they're doing it here and there. I'm not seeing a big push. I'm not hearing from the Attorney General. I'm not hearing from the head of either Civil Rights Division. What the hell's going on?
I was at the White House when President Trump announced that. He called on me to speak, and I congratulated him. Even though I'm not a Republican, I congratulated him for his great efforts in getting the administration behind this effort to root out anti-Semitism. It hasn't worked. In fact, what's happened, and it's this administration and Biden as well, whenever they talk about anti-Semitism, they say, and Islamophobia. I got news for you. There is no Islamophobia at any university in the United States. It's a fake. It's virtue parading. Oh, we have to fight anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Let me tell you who the anti-Semites are. They are largely, not completely, the radical Muslims who claim to be victims of Islamophobia. This is a one-sided issue. Only Jews and pro-Israel Christians on campus today are being attacked. Muslims are not being attacked. Arabs, they're the privileged groups. They're the ones who get the benefits. They're the ones who get the advantages from teachers. They're the ones who get the good recommendations. But if you say you're pro-Israel, if you wear a kippah or a Star of David, you are not getting fair treatment at American universities today. And there has to be a response from the government, or else we're going to bring lawsuits. You know, hurt a Jew, we sue you. That's going to be our new motto. And we're not going to allow this kind of pushing around. As we've heard before, this happened in the 1930s. Harvard welcomed Nazis. Yale had a pledge that said we won't fight against the Nazis. People marched through the streets of New York doing Heil Hitlers and swastikas. We will not let that happen again. As long as I have 1 ounce of energy, I am going to fight this. I'm going to fight it at universities. I'm going to fight it at places where I went to school. And I am not going to rest until we see not only Hamas rooted out, but Hamas supporters. The National Lawyers Guild, which has thousands of lawyers at every university, law school in the United States, has become the primary legal source against Israel. On October 8th, before the blood was even dry, they praised Hamas for a wonderful military action. They talked about Israel having to free murderers, but they never said one word in support of the hostages. The National Lawyers Guild. If you have a lawyer from the National Lawyers Guild. Ask that lawyer. Do you personally defend beheadings, burnings, rapes, and kidnappings? And if you do, treat him the way you would treat a lawyer who belonged to the Ku Klux Klan and supported the lynching of blacks. There is no difference. 1,200 Jews were lynched on October 7th, and these people support those lynchings.
To underscore your point and the Prime Minister's point before you, the Third Reich in the Ivory Tower, complicity and conflict on American campuses, Professor Stephen Norwood, it is a fantastic, now he's a liberal, but this is in my view, but it's a fantastic book. And he explains, as you're explaining, in the 30s and even in the 40s, the Germans infiltrated our colleges and universities. They infiltrated our culture. It was intentional. And there was this fifth column, as you say, of pro-Nazi students, pro-Nazi professors, pro-Nazi media in this country. And your point is, and it's here again, but this time it's funded by groups like the Hamas network. We know of now some billionaires and millionaires, as more information's coming out, who are backing these movements and so forth. And when colleges and universities pretend that this is free speech and academic freedom, they're giving cover to violence, to anti-Semitism, which is not free speech.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.